welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com Broiler Chicken Show. Trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rant Vegas. That's for Mr. D-Mac, who loves the rants so much. Just got to make sure I don't rant while we have special guests on the video, right? Because that cuts into their time. Duly noted. So anyway, you just got me for the next hour and a half or so. Maybe we can squeeze out a couple hours. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It is 11 o'clock on the West Coast. It is Sunday, 29th of October. Actually, interestingly enough, yesterday, I think, was the eclipse. Actually, it was interesting. While I was driving Liam on Thursday, the moon was just hanging in the on the horizon, just all full and just looking like trouble. So anyway, I think we've gotten through that. I haven't really been paying that much attention, but I haven't really heard too much out of the whole Middle East. From what I understand, gold and I think Bitcoin to a certain degree were running up because Israel was getting ready for their big push into Gaza. And then didn't really hear anything following that. Gaza residents break into UN warehouse for supplies as Israelis barrage continues. So sadly, they're just, I guess, shelling the city. Maybe tomorrow will be the official, I don't know, do you even call it an invasion? Seems to me it's a bit like we're all making a mountain out of a molehill. I mean, bless the Palestinians' hearts. Never like to see people suffer and all of that, but I mean, there is no economic value to that part of Israel. There isn't any oil there. There's very little agriculture. I mean, it's basically desert. And ironically enough, I think most of the Arab nations have kind of, like I heard one guy the other day say that, if the Arabs felt so badly for the Palestinians, they're so stinking rich. There's countries like the United Arab Emirates where if you are like born there, you're literally born an instant millionaire. They could easily take in all of those people. So it's almost like the Arab countries like to keep the Palestinians there as a focal point of how much we hate the Israelis, because look at what we're doing to the poor Palestinians. But like I said, like the Egyptians, they've like completely sealed off their border, and they're not letting a single person go. Like, why not? Why not just say to the Palestinians, look, if it's a bit stressful there, maybe come over and hang out in Egypt, and we'll put you up over on the border with Libya or something. So the whole thing kind of stinks like yesterday's garbage, to be honest with you. And sadly, the silly humans in that very typical fashion, and the poor humans they're the ones who are going to suffer. So sad. Anyway, obviously, and I've said this repeatedly before, all rants aside and all that kind of stuff, clown over in the West Coast of North America, there's nothing I can add to the equation other than I'm just disgusted at this species. Anyway, purpose of today is twofold. Number one, sort of talk a little bit about our little newsletter, which is a nice little market summary of what we see happening in the market here this past week or so. Including I put out a weekly summary on the Bitcoin price chart, a weekly, daily, and 4-hour analysis, just some basic levels. Also, too, if we happen to see markets that sort of jump out at us as kind of exceptional, I was quite surprised to see good old Alan here. His stock is not doing too well. Of course, he's probably, I think, in name, he's still, chief executive and all that kind of fun stuff. But I get the impression, just the same way as it went with PayPal, that once he sort of hit his objective and now he's moving on to other projects, I don't really think he's even that concerned about what happens with the fate of Tesla. And I did notice, one thing that really pissed me off, and it's just such a typical thing, and it's why I got so angry with him coming into that whole crypto cycle peak there a couple of years ago. Um, you know, uh, anyway, I mean, there's really no point in commenting on him. I don't really like the person. So anyway, it's the way it is. Anyway, hopefully he'll stay the fuck out of crypto this go round, but my hunch is he won't because he's all wrapped up in dog money. Also too, we do have our proprietary bread signals, and people are saying that the YouTube page is not operating fluidly. Suppose that really wouldn't surprise. I haven't sworn yet this morning. It might be a function of Chris. Where are you operating out of these days? Are you operating out of that wonderful? I remember sometime you said your internet provider back east sometimes is kind of crappy. Uh, I do see the circly circle thing. I don't know, and I do see somebody over there saying today's YouTube works like shit, always lagging. So I'm not quite sure. I get the impression that YouTube doesn't really like me doing these live streaming shows. I think they would prefer that everybody just pre-record their videos and then upload them after the fact. So maybe this live broadcast idea is not such a good thing. Anyway, well, we'll keep moving on here. As well too, so as I said there a moment ago, we have our proprietary trading algorithms that I think are actually doing exceptionally well. I'm over the top impressed with the performance out of my 1980s website brought into the 21st century. Thank you, Sjord, TRICTO, making this look like actually a 21st century product. And keep in mind, it is a work in progress. We have gotten quite a bit of feedback from people wanting to be able to scroll back over time. And we have been and hawing about how we're going to address that, but we just have so many things on the go. It's always just a question of priorities. The team put together this new website over the past, I don't know, 6, 8 months or so. So this was a huge undertaking for them. And then also too, from a coder's perspective, Stuart, of course, wants everything to be, perfectly coded. So integrating all the payment platforms and all that, I mean, geez, it's such a headache. It goes on and on and on. So we probably will be constantly developing this product going forward. Just a FYI, while we're still in October, we have, to all sort of current site members, if you did want to do the pro package, we're still going to give you you regulars the opportunity to sign up for another year at the super ridiculous price for this dashboard. But just be forewarned, actually, as of probably November 1st, we go into the new pricing model, and this product is going to be substantially more expensive. We will offer a Black Friday deal, and I also like the idea of sort of a Christmas in July kind of deal. So every 6 months, you've got that discounted package, but even the discount is going to be higher than this special offer. Julian and the marketing team just put out emails to everybody, just reminding them, and we have had quite a few people sort of renew and lock in another year at that ridiculously low price. So just be aware that, if it's a month from now, don't come to us. Oh my goodness, why do I have to pay more? Well, you see what's happening in this stupid inflation world. Hell, I can't even go to the grocery store and get like a half decent load of groceries for under $100 these days. It's ridiculous. So I mean, just like everything else. In fact, I'm actually surprised our school program, we haven't raised the prices, but I think the team has been so concentrated on the dashboard, we haven't really circled around and addressed the school program. But I would imagine those school program fees are also going to be going up in the not too distant future. So if you're thinking about trying to learn how to trade, trying to learn how to make money from this crazy business, what are sort of the key ingredients? We call it the process at TRI. I would strongly suggest that you go and just lock this in now, because these prices will also be going up. And the feedback that we've gotten from the course program is it's definitely good value for your money spent. And really, I don't see anybody else on the internet teach a program from sort of beginning to end the way that we do it, where we cover just about everything you could possibly think about. So I would strongly suggest, especially, considering we're getting ready for a new little old lady bull market in speculative assets, probably once the Fed is officially done raising rates, maybe they go and break something and they have to start panicking and cutting rates, then these speculative assets are going to take off like a rocket. And actually, the one place that I think actually is going to break, it is going to be the thing that gets broken this cycle. And I think this is exactly what the Fed wants, is we got to knock these idiots back down to size. For some stupid reason, these people actually thought that they were like a first world nation. Nice try, commie dictators. Have you seen what's happened to all the buildings that they've built? And the absolute utter corruption of the whole Fakezi? I mean, they're literally going and just dynamiting, like literally, like it would be almost like a whole city here in North America, the amount of buildings that they're dynamiting in like one go. It's you can't write better fiction than reality. You really can't. And interestingly enough, when actually somebody had posted in the lounge somebody's analysis of the Chinese debt market and how that relates to Bitcoin and stuff like that, I didn't really go down that road, but I was very interested in picking apart this Chinese debt market. And this is the Chinese debt market priced in the US dollar, or the US dollar index. Or like the Chinese debt actually priced in a real currency. Because I don't think the Chinese yuan, I think that's just an absolute joke. Hell, even the Chinese don't even want to use the Chinese yuan. How are you going to get some, and I find it hilarious. And I must be the only person in the world, other than that Peter Zahn, because I totally agree with him, that the notion of these BRICS nations actually floating their own, hell, they don't even want to accept their own currencies in trade, let alone leave the US dollar hegemony system. I think that's the biggest joke around. And I hate to say it, and this is a bit insulting and why people don't like me so much, but that the people that are actually taking this whole BRICS concept seriously are people that I don't think have been in the market for too long. And they don't really realize how absolutely insanely corrupt, these communist nations are. And how they, and ironically enough, China and Russia actually have a very long history of being bitter enemies. So you might find that the Chinese actually pull a fast one on Russia and steal a whole bunch of land that Russia stole from them 100 years ago. So anyway, I find that hilarious. But what is interesting about this chart, and I think it's the whole global debt market. It's not just the Chinese. I think the whole damn world debt market looks the same. But the issue here is that you could very easily see a situation where the Chinese just simply default on their debts. That would not surprise me one bit. From what I understand, the internal economics in China, it's getting worse by the day, not better. Country Garden, Evergrande, those big real estate jokes, they're like defaulting. But this is sort of the one thing that I don't think that the market participants are really expecting, and that is you could actually see interest rates at, like my time in the market, what I've found is usually the market goes and puts in a big double top. And keep in mind, this is like you could even change this to like a monthly or yearly chart. This is a weekly chart, but look how wide this M top is. And actually, probably all our harmonicans. That's probably a pretty good looking harmonic. Boom, 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 boom. See you later. So, but the point is that's a big honkin' M. And gee whiz, happened right through that whole Jupiter Saturn cross. I think that that celestial event, Jupiter Saturn Pluto cross, I think that celestial event was the key to all of this. And ironically enough, nobody is talking about any of that. And I don't understand why. It just doesn't seem to. It's sort of like, I'm a big fan of this concept called rational analysis. And John Bollinger actually was the guy who first coined the term back, 20, 30 years ago. And he used it, rational analysis, rational analysis, rational analysis. And it just wouldn't stick. It's like Wall Street was like, no, we are not going to use that term. You're going to have to pull our hair out to get us. And he eventually gave up. And Wall Street stole the idea from him and called it fusion analysis, which is pretty insulting to Mr. Bollinger, but very typical of Wall Street. And really the whole sort of power structure of the capitalist system. So I wouldn't be surprised if people end up stealing half of the crap that we do at TRI and rebranding it their own brand. Seems to be the way these silly humans work, but no, well, it is what it is. Anyway, so what I found is usually trends start with a big fat M top, right? What are you supposed to think when you see the market smiling at you? And then if they're trending, they start doing things like bearish bot, in this case, bearish trend, bearish bots. And they, think of this as the very top of the mountain. And then this is stair stepping our way down the mountain. And really just step by step by step by step, the market works its way lower. And ironically enough, I actually think that it's not really like interest rates are really going up appreciably. I actually think that what this really is this is a quote unquote normalization of interest rates. That's all. So, I wanted to show you, I don't know where the hell I have it over here. Too many charts. I'm always going to blow my head up. Here's our interest rate metric. And of course, 10-year US Treasuries, that's probably a nice, simple measure to use. If you actually look at this over time, oh, that's not going to work. Jerks. All right, let's try and do this another way. TLT. No, that won't work either. Let's go TNX. That should do it. Actually, good to see. Maybe rates are starting to get exhausted up top here. Maybe we can do a month. There we go. That's what I wanted to show you. So, where is a 50% level of all of this? Don't need any of this stuff on here. Remove drawings. There we go. Just, WD GAN, keep it simple, stupid. Don't overthink this stuff. That's where interest rates should go if everything's equal. And in a weird sort of way, over this period here, from about here on, interest rates were actually artificially suppressed. Obviously the U.S. Hegemony, controlling the system, knowing how bad their demographic situation was, they basically stepped in and basically bought back all the bad bonds that they were shilling to the world, which were just garbage. And then it's not like they actually got rid of the bonds. They just let the bonds expire. And of course, this modern day banking system, by the banks issuing new bonds, basically they're creating money out of thin air. So all the Fed did was say, okay, fine, just let the bond expire, but they never really got rid of the new money. So, that's the whole monetizing the debt situation. But I don't see any reason why this can't work up here. And actually, interestingly enough, with Colin, I heard him recently listening to a financial advisor, and I can't quote it specifically, but I think the advisor said, well, interest rates they're done going up. I think you should probably plan that this is probably it for interest rate increases. But this is Colin's zone, which I found fascinating. I mean, I suppose, Colin, if you're watching this later on, maybe we can come on next Friday. We can have a chat about this. But this is, we affectionately call this 38.2 to 50%. Colin's, in this case, dump chaser. You don't want to sell down here. But if you do want to sell, wait for the bounce into this window and then sell. So you can see 38.2 even right here is still sitting at 6.31%. And until this actually ems out in earnest, I don't really see any reason why this should, stop. That to me looks like it's making higher highs and higher lows. So, I mean, maybe we just hit some sort of short-term objective that was this kind of objective here, A, B, C, D. So we doinked up against there. Maybe if we're lucky, we have a bit of a reprieve and things sort of calm down here a bit. But I still think you got to wait for something's got to break in the global economy. I get, actually, it's interesting to hear. There's rumors about that Vladdy actually had a heart attack recently. So I don't know. That would be interesting if the war just stopped like that. It's because Russia just ran out of ammo. That might do it. But something's got to break. I don't know what it is. It's interesting. Some people are actually saying that tomorrow we should have Black Monday. I don't know. I don't see it, but I suppose anything can happen in this world. I wouldn't say, ironically enough, with Bitcoin moving up here, I wouldn't say that this is a crash scenario like Black Monday, because even in, when the stock market broke there a while ago, 1987, even like actually, I can't remember exactly, but 1987 specifically, when the market broke, actually gold broke as well. So gold moving up here, Bitcoin moving up here. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think a Black Monday. Having said that, if you look at something like QQQ, this looks like it's just going through a very regular topping pattern. There's nothing really out of the ordinary here. Is it a bull right now? No. Lower highs and lower lows defines a bear. So you can see this whole scenario is off the table now looking at this chart. But, same sort of thing what I said with those 50% levels on those interest rates. Well, QQQ, same thing. It's just natural. And if anything, this makes perfect sense, right? All we're going to do is just come down and probably just kiss that trend line and tag the 50% level. So, here we are, 345. Could you see it dump down into 321 or a 20-point drop here? Yeah, I could see that. There's Colin, and the first stop target, interesting, that's against this horizontal support and resistance level. I mean, ironically enough, I think what ends up happening is price does pull back here. And sadly, the media is actually going to paint this as a crash. And yet I might argue that actually this is just pulling it back into buying windows. So anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Suppose, looking at this beautifully well-defined M top, we should probably be thinking things like chaos theory. So boom, where does that take us? 2.618 is right down in here. So I could very easily see us just sort of work our way down kind of idea, ultimately hit that level down in there. And then, of course, Brian and his good old fibs, Brian's favorite fibs and the reload zone. So that would be down in this window. Interesting how close 2.618 and Mountain Man are there. But I definitely don't. I mean, maybe the media paints this as Black Monday, Omar, but actually, I would just call this business as usual. We're probably going to get some sort of price action like this. I mean, you see the M. You know what looks absolutely cool? And it's awesome because I'm going to go into the branch and I'm going to remind the branch manager that I told him that everything at TRI said that this was a short. But these Canadian bank stocks just look like absolute garbage. Yeah, I guess this one here. Look at that, eh? Now that's an asset. Like I said earlier, something's got to break. This actually makes perfect sense to me. And actually, I was kind of thinking, Chris, the actual tweet that I wanted you to put out for sort of market that I was most interested in was I don't know whether this was where is and I mean it's cool to see and I love to see this jerk rhymes with Dink guy lose money. That always puts a smile on my face. And actually, interesting enough, some of the names that they're most heavily long, Apple, Tesla, we actually got very well defined sell signals. ConocoPhillips had a huge outside downside reversal. So ironically enough, technically, it makes sense. Here's Facebook. I thought this was an interesting one. This is the chief legal officer at Facebook was doing a bit of insider selling here recently. And my question is did they know that this thing with 42 states suing Facebook over whatever, or is she just a student at TRI? And well, she's just like, well, they come into the reload zone, and that Beamish guy says probably a good idea to let them have some, especially if you're kind of like short for cash and you want to liquidate. Not a bad place to let some go. I find that hilarious. That right into that window, our insider was selling. And I was even joking on the Wednesday show that really this is a rational idea. You've got actually this is called quantitative analysis, like sentiment. Insiders are selling. Should we pay attention to that? And then of course you have your technical levels. Good old Brian's favorite fib, gap fills, blah blah blah. Maybe Empire tops, fractal tops, shooting stars, the whole thing. It'd actually be interesting to see if there was divergences that developed on that push to new highs. And not a big surprise to see this thing coming off here. Anyway, I'm kind of just going in circles here. Where's our newsletter? That's what I should be talking about. So was interesting. I mean, we had one hell of a buy signal there on Bitcoin and crypto there, and crypto looks pretty good. I gotta say, I think a lot of the crypto market is being bid up and propped up for the anticipation of this ETF, and that BlackRock guy, he wants the market as high as possible, so that of course when the public does come in and panic buy, they are going to be buying the top of the market, not the bottom of the market. So that does make sense. It is interesting to see how the S&P 500 breadth actually has been negative for a while, and the S&P just looks like poop right now. And then Chris incorporated this Tesla chart. And what I find really cool about this chart is I'm a big fan of this 2-bar chart pattern. 2 bars? Yeah, maybe it takes 3 bars for the whole thing to complete. Outside downside key reversals, and actually outside upside key reversals if you're bullish. And these are sort of like my favorite sort of issues in the equity markets to follow right at the moment. Absolutely love Toyota Motor Company there. About 6-8 months and a beautiful double bottom breakout, but I missed the trade. It's shitty. Still have my bid working down right at these lows. Ridiculous, but oh well. No way I'm gonna get filled on that now. But here is Alan and his Tesla stock, and just the absolute most beautiful outside downside key reversal. And it's fascinating how basically that signal is still working away, just doing its thing. It's sitting right now at about what 1.14 to 1 risk reward. So I don't know whether it makes sense taking profits yet. But like Chris had even pointed out, big move in Tesla. And of course, as I think I said to you in the last weekly broadcast, smiles within smiles, very bearish chart pattern. I suppose also too, we've been hearing news lately that people like Joey Diamond are getting out of his bank stock. So clearly, either advisors or he himself has decided that the equities is probably not the best place to be invested right now. I mean, what I do find interesting is you don't hear Alan talking about Tesla stock at all nowadays. It's almost like it's completely. You'd almost think he's not even part of the company anymore. Anyway, it was interesting to see Chris had included that Tesla chart in the newsletter right up here. That's the actual newsletter though, eh? Which one? Where's the write-up that we do? I feel very directionless today, everybody. I'm sorry if I'm kind of mindlessly babbling here. Was interesting to see. We got a weekly commodity trend survey. We actually got a buy signal in a market. And as an old commodities broker, I would be following this to try and help me. Where's the best chart? Let's go with this one. Yeah. Sort of, have clients and stuff positioned in the commodities markets appropriately. So where is our energy? There it is, natural gas. Ooh, we up 8%. So I did find it interesting that our weekly commodity trend survey, I don't know whether you can see it off of this thing. I mean, you should be able to. Anyway, commodities. Oh, did you notice that, Chris, that the title of these got cut off here a little bit? Oh yeah, and then also you said like the shadow thing. Yeah, so anyway, we got to clean this up a bit. Anyway, you can see we had one buy signal there. And if we go and look at the commodities boards, well, you can do it 2 ways. If you are a subscriber, you can click on the weekly commodity trend survey, or you can just come and click on commodities right here and it loads it up. There is the natural gas. It is our buy. A couple weeks old now. This is the ETF though, so might look a little different than those futures. If anything, the way that I like to use this, and it's the same thing. I know there was a couple people that did subscribe to the pro dashboard package and just had a question or two about this. The way that I would use this is a weekly survey. So it's a bit slow, and unfortunately, it looks like Fjord, and I don't know why, but it looks like this also is like a week behind, which isn't good. But you can see, look at that. The last data print there is 10/15. I don't know how we get in front of this problem. Basically, that's like 2 weeks old data now. I just don't know how we get in front of this, but. The point, I guess, is just that the way that I would recommend that you use this is if you do see that a buy signal is generated off of the system here, hey, buy signal, then obviously you look at that particular market, and then you just simply pull up the chart. And in this case, it's the ETF that it's based off of. And you just hunt a daily buy signal now that the weekly chart has turned up. So, the weekly signal on this thing was on the moving average cross. So you can see that that was there. So as you said, it's 2 weeks old. But this past week actually spat up a daily bullish fractal right down here. Also, too, you could argue, reload zones, especially gap fills, all that kind of fun stuff. But I don't have a problem actually hunting that that fractal down in here. That's probably a half decent level to be long. And as long as this thing is still pointed up, I would just stay with the signal. Maybe you even say, well, look at, there's the nice double bottom. I can't chase that because obviously the market popping up there, that's what caused the moving averages to turn up. Can't really chase that. So just my point is, yes, you get a buy signal on these weekly commodity trend survey, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you just go and market buy. If anything, at that point, you get your weekly buy or sell signal issued, and then you drill down to your daily chart and you say, okay, well, how am I going to get in on this? And you might even now be saying, okay, well, Brian, I'll buy if this big fat W confirms. And I don't have a problem with that. Totally fine with something along those lines. Or you could say, well, the buy signal came in. There is the last W. I'll place my bid just to buy and wait for the pullback into that level. Or, like I said there earlier, I'm going to do a reload zone. So I'll do something like that and I'll buy when it comes back into a reload zone and give me any kind of fractal or anything in there and I'll go on. All right, fine. And then what I'd also say too is if you are a bit more advanced, is you let the buy signal come in and then go and pull up like a list of all the stocks that are in the natural gas business. And we had a couple fun ones. There was Tusk. This one was in the natural gas business. Well, no buy signals there. What's another one we had? There was a few of them that we used to trade. I can't remember off the top of my head, but Synovus. This is a big natural gas company. It's the biggest natural gas company in Canada. Any kind of buy signal you get in here, I don't really see anything to get me excited on there. But that's basically the way that I would approach it. So it was interesting how the weekly commodity trend survey, and keep in mind this is like a couple weeks delayed, which I don't like. I'm not quite sure how we fix this going forward. But the weekly commodity trend survey, it actually spit out a sell setup on Bitcoin. Like if I go over to the crypto here. And then really the point was that happened. Here, the commodity trend survey, we had a 1 on Bitcoin here, but you can see this is still printing a bit old data, right? So past price, it still says 29.9. And we know that Bitcoin's up in the 30s. So this is a bit old unto itself. And really what this was predicated on was, we were going sideways for 32 weeks and we started to break down here, and that's where the moving averages crossed bearish. So if we look at that Bitcoin chart, this weekly chart, that crossed right there. So same sort of thing as the natural gas, although this was bearish. So on this moving average cross, I would at this point right here drill down to that daily chart, and if you got any kind of sell signal through here, that's a huge sell signal because the moving average is crossed with the price substantially off its lows. In this case, and I think I had talked to you guys about this, that sometimes what happens is the market will just consolidate for like 30 weeks, and this could be a big fractal top, or it could turn, in this case, into a double bottom. But coming out the other side of here, we were either going to, right shoulder and break down, or we were going to double bottom. In this case, you can see we double bottomed and woohoo, away we go. And you can also see too that as of just this week itself, with this massive bullish price action, the moving averages have turned back positive again. So this is a kind of situation where now, if we can get some sort of consolidation in here and a W, then that would support the buy off of like the daily charts. So the daily chart, looks like that right now. You can see a bit of a consolidation is coming in here though, but I don't know. This to me looks a bit old. I mean, we had one hell of a algo short-term lower time frame buy signal come in. I suppose if we had had an algo sell signal come in with the moving averages pointing down, oh boy, that could have turned into one hell of a wipeout there. But the algo actually came in bullish. It's a fun experiment I'm doing over here. So I was wondering whether gold. See, it has me scratching my head right now is gold's not really breaking out here per se, whereas Bitcoin is. And then oil is off doing its thing. But notice how oil moved up here, and at that exact same time, gold moved down. So that's what actually should happen normally, is oil and gold move in opposite directions. Anyway, I was just wondering whether there was any correlation. Anyway, let's go back to what we were talking about. So as it stands right now, the old adage, show me a new high and I'll show you a buy. And actually that comes from the futures industry. And actually I'd even put it out with the tweet here today that we even had something that you don't see very often, but worked out very well, I think. Let's see if I can find it. We had the futures markets actually spit out, and if you don't know this and you're wanting to write something down from this in your journals, something new that you learned, there's an old expression that goes, show me a new high and I'll show you a buy. And that actually comes from the commodities industry. And that is basically talking about if you ever see a commodity itself break to a new contract high, and this was basically a new trading contract high for this October contract. I suppose this thing's going to expire here shortly. If it probably didn't expire, probably expires this coming week. But that in itself is actually a buy signal. So not a big surprise we got the pop higher there. But also too, this is actually potentially gap theory. And gap theory says that if you can get a gapping bar that breaks out of an old range, which is what this basically is done here, and then you get another gap on top of that, then if this is typical gap theory, there should be a third gap, and that should come in right around the distance from the breakaway gap to the measuring gap applied on top of the measuring gap. And if a gap does come in up top here, then that's what's called the exhaustion gap. And sadly, of course, that's exactly when the public is coming in and they're most feverishly bullish. And they usually come in and buy the top, and then the market has to correct. So I do like the idea, based on the futures contracts, that we could go up and tag that 37,000 area based purely on gap theory here. And I thought that was super interesting. So, show me a new high and I'll show you a buy. Gap theory. And then if we actually look at the charts themselves, like the spot market, I like to use Stamp. I think what's going on here is not so much a daily chart price pattern. I get the impression that this is like a 4-hour chart pattern. So it looks something like that. This is a trend continuation. You can't measure it off of the entire range because this consolidation is just too small. So you have to actually ask yourself, okay, well, what is the range that I can use where I get at least a 33% correction, but no more than a 66% correction? And that's off of this consolidation low there at 29,678 on stamp. That's what I've done here. So what this creates is basically an A to B. And we'll go there to there. And you can even go like A to B. And then C to D up top off of this low, which takes us up to that C to D target level. So if somebody was going to ask me, Brian, what do you think's going on here? This is what I see. And as I had said, if they start bidding this market up, and maybe we get sort of the rumor that the ETF is going to be launched and the futures markets gap higher here, making that basically that three gapping pattern, gap theory. Well, I mean, everything would basically line up for a nice little pop. And there's 30, what is that, 38,700 on this spot market. And then if you get some sort of insane blow off top, which is totally realistic, I mean, it's the way markets go. Sometimes this can turn into what's called an alt ABCD, rally all the way up to 127.2, or even as far as 1.618 if things get really out of control. And I might argue that if we do actually pop up into this level here, I would definitely be looking for that is the top of the cycle. As you've probably heard me say before, 9,999 times out of 10,000, if you rally straight up to this 1.618, odds are you're going to get a hell of a pivot off of that. So you can even see that it looks like price itself has put in one low, two lows, three lows, nice double bottom there right at the 25 level. So it sure looks to me like the market's liking this this level here as a trade. And just for fun, what the hell, only live once. We can always just show you what I would even just say, let's go and I don't know, we'll buy like I don't know, a tenth of a Bitcoin, 3,400 bucks worth. Buy it. We'll put the Bora bid in at 34,638. So you can see we need the price to come down here about 60 bucks to get a fill. But that's the bot level, 638 right there, 638. And we'll see whether we can do a nice little demo trade for you of how the bot works. So on our public broadcast over the next couple of days, we'll just walk you through how this little demo of the bot works. So if we do get filled on that, we'll say I'm out with Liam or something and price pulls back. I want to risk to a break of this low here. So I'm going to let the market play with that low. That low probably gets taken out. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. Candle body lows for trade location. Probably all the professionals, they want to be long off of that level. So we'll let the market play against that low. And like I said, we'll give up on the trade idea if we break through this bottom here. Anyway, we'll see what happens. And as you can see, initial risk level, that's how the bot setup works. So a nice little demo there for you on how you would trade this particular setup. And you can see where my profit objective is now, 38,778. All right, so hopefully that covers the Bitcoin. I don't know whether the buffering situation is totally unmanageable. I did see somebody there just said, can't watch it. Too bad. Kind of sucks. I don't know. Some people are saying that it's working. Other people are saying it's buffering hell. So I'm not quite sure. Sean says, interesting. Someone noted BTC and stock market have S&P. What the heck does that mean? Have decoupled in few months for first time. Does seem a bit, it is interesting to see that Bitcoin and the stock market have decoupled. I mean, you hate to sound like a negative Nelly, but I don't really think this is the start of a new bull market here yet. I think this is still a lot of, this is everything to do with that ETF. And actually, you know what? This actually is a good dovetail because this is a conversation that I've been having with a couple site OGs that I got together with yesterday, just chit chatting about the market. So this is your first cycle. Got to try and avoid buying into these face rip moves. It's always hard on your health. I remember when I first came into this space and people asked me, well, what's the typical duration of a bear market? I said about 18 months. I mean, that's typical. So it's fascinating how, this is a weekly chart. So 18 months is 18 times 4, but that's about 75 weeks or somewhere in that neighborhood. So top of the market to bottom of the market is 58 weeks. So that's a little bit over a year. 70, 75 or so weeks. You can see that's about a year and a half. 52 and 26 would be 78, right? Yeah, I guess that's right. And you can see that the market ultimately turned right in that area. So if we do the same logic here, top of the market, when did the market turn back up here? So, I would make the argument that we've gone through most of the bearish move, thank heavens. And what I was doing here, you can see I overlaid this price action and this price action, one in teal, one in yellow, just to give you an idea. History never repeats, but it often rhymes, which means that the price pattern is going to look something along these lines. So if we zoom in on this, here we are here. You can see, and this is what I've been thinking, is that we are in this particular just minimize this for now. I still think this year is more like 14, 15, 16 than any other year. And actually interesting, this big rally here, if we actually like sort of move this over so that the low corresponds with that low, then this high actually corresponds nicely. Mind you, it doesn't look like it's exactly right, but this in 14, 15, this was the first week of November, right? So that was back here. So, and this is interesting. This was government, U.S. Marshal's Office auctioning of seized Silk Road Bitcoins. The second one was right here. That was this event. And that kind of changed the tone. As we were going through this entire correction, I remember everything was negative, negative, negative. A lot of guys got really panicky and really panic dumped and stuff down here, which was such a shame. But once we got here, the whole sort of conversation in this space totally changed. I do like the idea that this move right here from this low back up to this high was like a perfect 61.8 tag. And notice that was that right there. And it was also a Wyckoff check of the original breakout level. So that's what I would be thinking. Once this sort of ETF hurrah nonsense, a little bit of fluff, if you ask me, once it plays out, then I think that you're going to get some sort of 61.8. Now, the question ultimately here is, does the market, and here we'll minimize this one too, so you can see what the current price action looks like. If we sort of zoom in on this, do we have to do a 61.8 off of this entire range? Does that mean that we need to rally up so that 61.8 is a Wyckoff check of the original breakout? Can we actually make it all the way up to 57? I think that might be a little bit much. I do like the idea here in the short term that this wick right up here, we often say, and actually maybe this might be a good opportunity to interact with the YouTube audience. Although I don't know if anybody on YouTube's actually watching because of all the buffering issues. But it looks like we've cleared through this resistance point. So once you've cleared through a resistance point, what are you supposed to do? Anybody know? Mind you, I don't think anybody can even see on YouTube that way. Wow, it's such a shame that you spend so much time and effort getting ready for this, and YouTube can just sandbag you like this. Chris, do you show the video playing at all? Yeah, I mean, most of the video I've seen here today, it's just that circle thing that just keeps circling around on my screen. And usually we have quite a few viewers, but look at that. We only have 18 people watching this video right now. So it looks like most people have given up. It's kind of disappointing. Anyway, so is there anybody watching? Anybody know what Nick says here? I'm not able to see it at all on YouTube. Too bad. Maybe we'll have a few people watch this video after the fact. I don't know. Adam says YouTube is down, Brian. Hey, Matador, you got the answer correct. Way to go. So somebody's able to watch this. Anyway, when you clear through this resistance point, what you're supposed to do is look left. And so the next one, you can see there's a whole bunch of trap bulls in this candle right here. So I would be really surprised if we were able to punch through this high anytime soon. Notice how you could actually draw. Let's see if I can do this. Up here, then down to here, and then up. Well, no, watch what happens when we go this level here, right? Watch. Up here, down to here. It's almost exactly the same level as that level there. And then up. So I think that's what's happened is, in a weird sort of way, this is like another head and shoulders. Yeah, very good, BP. Look left. So the fact that we've cleared through here, I think we got to go up into here. That little wick right up there, there's a whole bunch of trap bulls that I would love desperately to get released. I guess also to that end, on this weekly chart, if we like, all I can say is this was 32 weeks of consolidation. And I might even argue that this probably was going to consolidate more, but you know who came in here and was like, oh no, I want an ETF. And literally he put a floor in this market off of that level. And interesting how, it jumped up 1 week and then worked its way all the way right back down to that level and could not break through that low. It is interesting too that this is big fat round number, $25,000. And I think you can make the argument that it came down and it actually traded to that 24,920 on that low there, but could not punch through there and then just turned around. And so we're starting to get anecdotal evidence right in here that geez, just doesn't want to punch lower. The question we had at this point was this going to turn into some sort of big fractal, eh? And that is there to there to there to there to there. Was it going to head and shoulders is out? And it just never came in. Like I said, we even had the weekly commodity trend survey rollover saying, all right, based on a weekly commodity trend survey, you get any kind of sell signal here and look out. And I think you could make the argument that that's what this 3-bar pattern was right here. So boom, boom, boom. If you had actually seen price go through this low right here, that would have created an empire top. And I think that actually would have been a pretty good sell signal. But it just never came in. All right, market turned up, came back down, and just said, see you later. And it resolved to the upside. If anything, this is why I really don't like the idea when people get into the business of predicting what's going to happen, because you just don't know in this silly game. So now, anybody that's sort of like, well, I think maybe we need to take a bit of a pause and calm down and consolidate, well, they look like idiots. Anybody that's like, oh no, we're going straight up, we're going to hit 100,000 by the end of the year, they're looking like geniuses. But I don't know. I don't know whether that really helps you make good decisions in the market. You want to see what makes good decisions in the market? Goddamn TRI algo. Oh my goodness, this was incredible. I mean, I love the fact that we've got my 1980s algo in the 21st century, just killing it. And it actually turned back bullish right at that sort of, all right, is this thing going to roll over? Is it going to go bear? Is it going to puke out? And what ends up happening? A damn algo spits out a buy signal and the damn market takes off like a rocket. So, and I thought it was interesting. I even posted in the tweet for today, the algo is still bullish. You can see in the newsletter. I mean, and what's fascinating is that this is actually a really good example of like overbought and oversold. Is this, the fast is just parked itself right on 100. Everybody's bullish, and the slow is grinding its way up here. Now, what scares the hell out of me about this image is once this slow gets up into this overbought zone, the market is officially overbought, and it's got permission to dump, and it can dump as hard as it wants. And what scares me about this is that in a weird sort of way, this all happened exactly the way it was supposed to happen, which is freaky. Because you've probably heard me talk about these solar eclipse events. And actually, this was the solar eclipse and then the lunar eclipse. So we had like an eclipse window. And notice, as soon as we went into the eclipse window, like literally Bitcoin just launched itself. And of course, all the stock markets and everything, they all puked out. And now yesterday was the official, lunar eclipse. So that event's over. And what I do find really interesting is you go on YouTube, you go on social media, any of that kind of stuff, and you listen to just sort of what the general message is, and everybody is calling for crash. Like when I first loaded up the video here, I think one of the very first comments was, "Oh, Black Monday incoming." So like everybody is looking for this thing to go to straight to 100,000, and for the stock market to basically collapse. Are we walking into a trap here? I don't know. Something doesn't. Hey, look at that! I got filled on that stink bid. Right on. So actually, this is the difference between a market player. No, how do we say this? If you're an investor, I think you actually have to be long Bitcoins down here. Brian's favorite fib, 78.6. How many bloody times have you heard Brian bark about 78.6s, right? Even call it the BFF. So I think that's where you're supposed to be long down there. And I remember Litecoin put in a fantastic bottom last year and barking to people and nobody would listen. It's all going to zero, blah, blah, blah. Can I come in on the investment side and invest in Bitcoins here? No. If I'm swing trading it, I don't mind following the things like the algo, try and get you long. It's a pretty nice swing trade. I think that's probably the best way to describe this. And now we're at the very tail end of this move. I mean, can you not see the market going parabolic? I would probably want to put like this kind of image on the screen. God, we haven't done one of these in forever. But, it's probably going to look something along these lines, right? The market is going parabolic. And if we do sort of go chunk, 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 right? That is basically the market going parabolic. You want to trade this? All right, fine. But this is a 4-hour bot setup. And, just as I had said there a moment ago, we'll demonstrator of best practices. So we will basically show you how the bot setup works. So there's your stop loss. We'll get that going. So that's, I mean, in essence, that's the trade right there. It's pretty straightforward. Of course, the big part about all of this is taking appropriate risk and, making damn sure you follow the rules. Ideally, you want your stop just below that number, not above it. Little things like that make a big difference. And then we'll just, for fun, we'll throw our take profit up at the bot objective. That's what I would do if I was futures trading this. And just let it work. Just see what happens. Live by the sword, die by the sword. I think what I'd probably do is if we do go chunking up into here, I'd probably like to let maybe like half of the trade go and then see if we can maybe sprinkle some sell orders. For all the level 3ers, have multiple exits, exit strategy. I suppose level 1ers as well. I would like level 1ers though. If you're going to trade the bot, just get into the habit of ringing the register at the bot target, the ABCD target, and just enjoy actually making money from trading. That's a hard thing for new people to trading to get into the habit of. So anyway, we'll see what happens. I mean, only time will tell. It's kind of fun demo here. We have the ability to actually demo this for you here. So we'll see what happens. Okay, let's see how we're doing over here. So just finish off this higher time frame thought, look left. Did find it interesting that we've come into, we had 3 different technical objectives here, right at this 36,000 area. We had the head and shoulders pattern from the original bottom, 200% of this range, or basically a range extension. You level 1ers who just did fib extension studies, think parking garage. Interesting how our first foray was up into that 1.618. That's the bottom of the parking garage. Consolidated, came back, tested support, made a higher low, pushed up, and now here we are, doink, we just hit the top of the parking garage. And this is exactly what you would expect to happen off of a head and shoulders pattern. And if anything, for a good portion of maybe the past 4 or 5 months, I've been sort of sitting here scratching my head going, well, that looks like a legitimate inverted head and shoulders. I'm really surprised price never did get up into here. And if we had rolled over here and started going back down, I would have been left scratching my head because that 200% level should have been traded to. And sure enough, doink, done. As well too, if we look at the original bottom here and we think chaos theory, 2.618 was sort of your initial objective. 4.669 is your secondary objective. If we can clear through both of these and keep working our way higher, then 877 is our next big objective. And I think that's also been hit here. And then finally, off of the entire range, good old Colin again. And, originally I learned this concept from a gentleman in New York, Ray Burchett. And we call it the first stop target because sometimes it's the first stop and the only stop. We might very easily bang into 38.2s, M out, and continue our way lower. Of course, none of you want to see that, but it is a very realistic possibility. But at any given point in time, in any price chart, anywhere, you should always expect 38.2 retracements. It's just natural what happens. And then, big shout out to Colin. He learned this concept and he really likes the idea that if you just draw a zone from 38.2 all the way up to 50%, WD GAN, that this whole window up here, we could easily see the market rally into. And if this really is a bear and the market wants to roll over, don't be surprised that it rallies right back up into Colin's dump chaser zone and then rolls over. So with that said, you can kind of see how now we're coming into that 38.2. I don't think it's actually been hit yet. Right? So you can see we still got a little bit further to go here. We've hit the ABCD level. We've hit the 877 level. Excuse me, the head and shoulders objective. We've hit the 877 chaos level. So I'm a little surprised why we haven't hit this 38.2. And then also look left. There's not really much standing in the way of this market. In fact, I would argue that this is actually the area where our next back and forth is. You can see that down there and that up there. So you've got a whole bunch of trap bulls in that wick there. And there were some trap bears in here, but they were released with this dump lower. So you can see, wicks and tails like to be eaten. This tail was eaten. This wick is still yet to be eaten. It's floating out there. And then what I showed you off of that other chart that we were looking at there a moment ago, this chart, I think right up here. So we just cleared through this area here. I think, that's that little reference, that little candle there that I was talking about a moment ago. But I think that we got to go up into this wick right here. So that wick right there, that's from April 2022. April, yeah. So actually interesting how these dates are slightly different, eh? But anyway, there is that April 2022. There is that wick. And I think a couple things that line up with this. Number one, notice 50% level, WD GAN. Right up into that wick. That makes sense. Also, too, this is the last sort of real top that actually came into the market. This is an empire top. Looks like the Empire States Building. You could also call it a 3-bar fractal. Very, very bearish chart pattern. And of course, you tell me, was that bearish? I mean, the market just collapsed following that, eh? So if there was going to be a level, we often talk about institutional fingerprints and where did the institutions stop bulls and bear markets, right? And we say it's the bar that made the high or low plus the preceding bar. So that means that this whole bear market, it was actually initiated by the institutional players selling this counter trend rally. So you can see there was a W that was put in here. People went uber bullish. Hey, that Beamish guy says W's are bullish. Get in there and buy it. And unfortunately, they got their head handed to them. But more importantly, the bar that made the high plus the preceding bar, I think you can make the argument that this is basically an institutional fingerprint, right? That high there and this low. And what you'll probably find is that first off, and interesting how there's 50% level and there's that wick. You can kind of see how there was like this empire top. This was bearish. There were people that tried desperately to hold on, right? They probably bought, like, is this a reload zone of this range right here? Oh, yeah, look at that, 61.8. So there are guys that probably were like mountain man guys that came in and bought these lows. The market was rallying. They were like, okay, fucking A, this looks good. We're kicking ass. We're kicking ass. And then all of a sudden, these guys that put the top in here, they just started selling and they just ripped this thing a new one. So all these people right in here, they're all trapped. And that we get any kind of price action up into there, they're going to so desperately want to get off the couch, right? So it is interesting that that's the last sort of real top. Like all of this is just fluff. I mean, there was a bit of a top in here, right? So you can see this candle here, this candle low there, right? The bar that made the low plus preceding bar. In this case, the bar that made the high plus preceding bar. and then the big dump. And then, remember, we had just talked about this. How there was like sort of down, down, right? And that was this thing, up, down, up, and then breakout. That was this conversation, right? About that. And interesting of this distance here is almost exactly the same distance as here. I don't think that's an accident. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is I think you could actually make the argument that we're going to have to now go through this part of the market cycle. And what's interesting is that this low here, that low is 32,951. This low is 34. So you might just find that this thing actually goes up, right, into our institutional fingerprint and is rejected. Then it comes back down. Then it rallies up. Then it comes back down and makes like a false looking M top because this low is lower than that low. And then there's another push back up top here like that, which would be a push like up here like that. And maybe that is my 61.8 move that I'm looking for. Maybe this comes down into Mountain Man like that, and then just turns back up on a dime like that, which would be sort of the same as this pattern. Something, who knows, something along those lines. So that's kind of where my head's at right now. I mean, as long as the Bulls got the ball, I wouldn't get in front of this thing. I don't have any sell signals anywhere in sight. As we kind of pointed out, I actually do have trend continuation patterns here starting to form. So, they always say the path of, just go with the path of least resistance. Right now, the path of least resistance still looks to the upside. And interestingly enough, my commentary off of sort of the daily chart is I'll start getting bearish as soon as I start seeing divs. Where's that? So I don't have any divs here at all. Look at Willie isn't even remotely stupid yet. I mean, how long is this going to take for Willie to actually get stupidly overbought? And you can see volume is increasing here. It's not decreasing. So, I mean, first and foremost, it looks like we're going to finish the weekend here. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, maybe I hang up from this call and then all of a sudden the whole damn market collapses. I mean, this is Bitcoin. I mean, anything can happen in this space. But as long as this is looking like this, I don't see any reason why you'd be calling a top here right now. My hunch is it probably does something like, well, probably something like this, where you see we have a huge up candle. Then we have like a next week could be just like a doji where we just sort of don't do much. Then we push up, and this push up to new highs creates those divergences. And then that creates, all right, now we got to clean up the whole cool your jets and all that crap. So there is no reason to call a top here at all in this short term. Short term bullish objectives, like I said, into this wick here. I think that's perfectly realistic. Perfectly realistic. Having said that, like I said there a moment ago, there are some back and forth here. You might find that the Bitcoin price rallies up top here, then has to pull back here. So we could have that kind of swing in here as we work our way higher over the next couple of weeks. And we have, I think I would call this a bull flag. You could call this an ABCD, but hopefully you can see this is the flag pull. This is your flag. And we're just going to take the flag pull and replicate that off of, it should happen about 2/3 the apex. Well, it looks pretty close to 2/3. And that's your bullish upside objective, 41,700. Also, too, since this low was higher than this low, and we've gone and cleanly broken out through the top. I think in my tweets over the past week or two, I said, look, if you're a bull, just go take out these highs. Just go and take them out. All right, look at that. Now people are saying it's just a black screen. Oh, isn't that terrible? Yeah, well, thank you very much, YouTube. Hugs and kisses. So, if anything, they went and took that out. So we should be thinking trend continuation, which means we should be thinking levels up top here. But also too, because this low is higher than this low, then that creates a Foggenbaum, which creates a 2.618. Oh, interesting how that 2.618 level comes in right off the 50% level, right off the ABCD objective, right off our little wick. Wicks and tails like to beat, and these guys got to get off sleeping on the couch. Right into that original institutional fingerprint and basically the empire top. So I'm getting the impression we got a date here with 42,000. And actually, it'll be interesting because this futures contract's going to expire soon. It's an October futures contract. So as soon as it expires, we're going to have to look at the November, and it might be interesting to see what the November and the December, what their price gaps look like. But I think this gap theory idea is still valid and floating out there. Okay, hopefully that speaks to the Bitcoin price chart. You have a pretty good idea what I'm thinking here going forward. Having said that, I mean, hell, I just gave you a freebie. I mean, obviously there's no guarantees from the management, never is, but if you want to just sort of as a how does that Beamish guy sort of approach how you would trade a trend continuation move? More sort of, they call this climbing the wall of worry kind of idea. Well, it's this bot setup, and actually all the levels are right there, nice and as clear as day. In fact, I'll even put this on the tweet. So, you can either subscribe to the newsletter. I mean, we'd love to have you subscribe to the site. But I'd also even say, we'll say, during the BCS show, the 4-hour bot setup fired. And so for demo purposes, we strapped on 1/10 of a coin, and we'll follow the setup as it plays out. No idea what's going to happen here. You never do know, but this is a trader's life. In fact, actually, we were even joking. What does a trader actually get paid to do? And the answer is traders get paid to worry. You really don't, nobody knows what the hell's going to happen here. I mean, nobody does. Statistic wise, I think there's a better than 50% chance we start working our way up top here. Do we actually get to lock in profits? I don't know. We'll see. Do we actually hit bot objectives? Do we get blow off tops up top? I'd say statistically the odds are in our favor. But we're statisticians. That's just the game that we play. Well, anyway, we'll see what happens. Only time will tell. Anyway, hopefully that's a good demo for all you guys and girls and houseplants. Suppose we could talk a little bit altcoins. Did find it really interesting the other day that somebody had basically said, AFA says, put my VPN for USA, and it is working now. Go figure. Actually, we have one site gentleman who I got together with yesterday. And I sure hope we can say, I get the impression that we are heading into a new bull phase wave. I'm not quite sure what the appropriate term should be. I think it's going to take the next year or so to play out. I don't think this is going to happen overnight. But I definitely think that there are going to be a lot of very, very wealthy people made out of, Jesus, look at that guy go. Everybody and their brother on the site was barking about this ICP, and now it's finally starting to take off there, right? What's the daily chart look like? There it goes. Dun, 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 dun. And they're just one after the other, after the other, after the other. I mean, hopefully all of you can see this. Pretty, I mean, we'll just be conservative. Pretty good looking W's. Boom, there you go. So already we hit 2.618. So anyway, actually, this is one that we were going to try and pick some up. This is actually everything that we do at TRI. Wait for the market structure bottom, wait for the pullback. We only pulled the trigger a little bit late, but anyway, we'll see what happens. If anything, I want to get a little bit of weakness to come into this market, but I don't know. I don't think you're going to see it. I think this market's too damn strong. I know we had a gentleman, Paul, he was barking about Algorand, I think it was. Mind you, I hear a lot of people barking about Algorand. Yeah, you can see it's getting ready to go. So, and then we've got Sjord, who is very, very smart. And he's got a whole bunch of names that he likes. This was one of his favorite, and he's already done really, really well on it. You can see sell halves on doubles already booked and stuff. But there it goes. There's just tons of them. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at that chart. Holy crap. Where's Zug? Is Zug around? Oh, my goodness.
Oh, I'm here.
There he is. You know, if this thing takes off, anytime I see your dad, I'm gonna be like, "You remember I told you to buy some of that the day you came on the site?"
Yeah, it's definitely been lagging compared to all the other coins, but I'm still fairly
Oh,
confident.
that thing looks crazy. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, it's just name after name after name. I mean, you can look at this W's within W's, and it's so funny how if you go on social media and talk to the public, they hate altcoins right now. They just can't stand them. And yet I'm sitting here going, back the freaking truck up, man. Buy, buy, buy. I want to buy more. I want to buy more. I can't, I can't. I'm so excited. I want to buy. I'm almost like a little schoolgirl. I'm all giddy. Anyway, so I mean, I just scrolled through about two or three names. If you need to, pause the video and go back and look and see if you can see the W's too. Pull up the price charts. I mean, they're everywhere. So I don't know what's happening here. If anything, I almost don't like this. This is a little too bullish. Maybe we get some sort of rally or something into October. Well, I guess now October is over. But usually the middle to the end of November, maybe even early December, altcoins usually get punched in the nose. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But any kind of weakness now, oh my goodness, buy, 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 keep buying. Oh, look at that W. Oh my goodness. And off it goes. And look at the momentum. Oh, look at the volume. Oh my goodness. Oh, anyway, 30 minutes. Were there any questions? I don't think there were any questions, were there? Oh, there were. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's head on over to the question document. And do I have it? I guess maybe Chris has got it. AMA, there it is. Okay, let's see what we got here. Yeah, boy. 29. Oh, wow, look at all this. All right, Julian's assessment of the results of the breadth indicator are impressive. They are an historic assessment, i.e., if you place trades based on the breadth signals, then you would have made X dollars. Yeah, basically. I subscribed to the indicator last year, but due to illness and only recently returning back to TRI to pick up where I left off, I did not get use out of it. If I subscribe again, I want to make sure I set it up so the notifications are on in my face and are a call to action. I recall you mentioned that you fell asleep one time and missed a breadth indicator signal that led to it. Yeah, I mean, and that's unfortunately the way algo trading goes, right? And that's half of the reason why computers do better at trading algorithmically than humans. So I have a few questions before I renew. Well, I don't know whether this is the appropriate avenue to address this. I can generally talk about this. I would rather talk about like school stuff and like TA concepts, but anyway, I guess we'll just go this. So, from a practical day-to-day perspective, incorporating the signals from a breadth indicator as part of a trading plan, how do you personally use it? How do other members of TRI management use it? Yeah, I mean, that's too vague of a question. What I would just simply say is you can, if you want, set up a trading plan that I will take the trades when they fire. I would also say too that, anywhere in here, if you were hunting long setups, there's nothing wrong with that. I know some people that say I only really want to take a algo signal if both the S&P and crypto are pointing in the same direction. So you might have missed that last signal entirely. I'd also say too, I like the idea of just using the breadth indicator to give you a general temperament for the market, and then go in and hunt your setups that you learned in your education program. Because on balance, had you been thinking long in crypto here, you would have done pretty well. I mean, what is this? This date broke out October 13th. When did that loom take off? I think that's all basically around the same time. So, maybe you had said, where's October 13th? So that is, interesting. That was actually near the end of this move. So, this one was running ahead of that event. I can't really comment on how others in quote unquote management would trade this. Would be sort of more like, remember, we're here not to tell you specifically what to buy and what to sell and when to buy and when to sell it. I don't like that kind of approach because, frankly speaking, it just sets you up for lawsuits. Either you do know how to manage a trading plan and a portfolio of assets, and so as a result, you have your own particular setups that you like. A very, very popular setup on the site is the LJ, which you can find in the library if you need to learn how that works. This is actually that setup I was just talking to you about a second ago on that altcoin. But anyway, I don't want to get off topic here. Where is LJs? Where is LJs? Hell, you can trade DAVs. DAVs are always fun. Devo trendline breakout. I guess we don't call it LJ anymore. But this is a very popular setup where actually I'm not even quite sure what's going to load here. Yeah, same sort of thing. Trend line has been tagged multiple times, and you get a breakout and you get some sort of bullish price pattern. On the other side, there's the W there and go. And a huge breakout. Ideally, you want it to be confirmed with things like indicators, volume, and stuff. I'm actually surprised that these aren't actually. That's just looks like it's the same trade. So you could trade that, like on something like Bitcoin. The algo signal comes in. Okay, I'm rah bullish. Now, how the hell am I going to get long? And that was off of here. Nope, not there. Where do we have that signal? Here. So the algo comes in here. I mean, you could look at this and go, well, as we said there a second ago, I'm a big LJ fan. So 1, 2, 3. All right. Look at that beautiful little W there. The algo just flips bullish. Wow, that'd be a hell of a signal. Might have been like sort of, threading a needle. Hell, I don't even really mind. I mean, this is a little bit high, but you could have probably just like looked at this and gone, Reload zone. So you can see how this whole pattern is within this reload zone here. So algo turns bullish. I'll use the algo as my indicator signal. I've got trade location, and I've got just a ton of W's, 1 low, 2 lows, 3 lows, 4 lows, 5 lows to work with. Maybe I'm just going to buy that double bottom breakout level there. Nothing wrong with that. You could have, let the algo do its thing. All right, it's flipped bullish. Now, since it's in a bullish stance, I want to hunt reasons to get long. So bot setup, we have minimum. Oh, darn. Boom. Minimum 33%, no more than 66. So you see we pulled back into here. So then you start measuring the trade out. So 1 low, 2 lows, 3 lows. Where's the 25 level here? Boom. All right. So, oh yeah, what a coincidence. So 25 is right off of there. Nice little, this is like a cup and handle pattern right there. So maybe that's how you got long off that algo signal. Yeah, so you could have been like super aggressive. Could have hunt for any kind of reason to get long. Either I'm playing the double bottom off of this reload zone, or I'm hunting LJs, give me a breakout and then a W on the other side of the trend line. I mean, this would have been slicker than slick. Algo signal comes in here, down, up, down, breakout, get long. Maybe you look at this and say, okay, well, we've got the trend line break. We've got the algo going bullish. I'm going to buy this level here and risk this W here, which makes sense. Well, you could have even tried to trade this W as well, right? So down, up, down, breakout. Anywhere, over here, the algo signal is flipped bullishly. You get the notice on your Discord. Ideally, we would like to have the notices come through email. I don't know how long it's going to take Stuart to get that up and running. But anywhere in this area here, I think that would be like an aggressive approach to trading the algo. Keep in mind, this is off a 4-hour chart too. I mean, maybe what you do is you say, you know what, I'm going to set up my chart to trade the algo off of the 1-hour chart. Nothing wrong with that. The algo is meant to be back and forth. So, maybe you go off of this 1-hour chart, and now you can see the algo spits up the signal here. And you can clearly see the W coming in on the other side of trend line. And I like that level to go long off of right there. And I like, 1 low, 2 lows, 3 lows, 4 lows, 5 lows, 6 lows. So I like the idea of buying somewhere in here and just risking this entire pattern right here. You've got the algo supporting your trade, and just go with it. Like I've told people repeatedly, the number one way that I like to use the algo is it just should position you correctly. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to rip higher or rip lower. But on balance, I've seen very, very rarely that you get a buy signal from the algo and then the market just pukes out to the downside. I in fact, in 2.5 years, been following this in earnest now on the site as we've been building this out. I've not seen that happen once. I do see every once in a while you'll get a signal and the market just sort of hums and haws. So here, for example, we had a buy signal, it dumped down, but then it quickly put in a W and it was right back on the buy mode just shortly thereafter. Here, I mean, this is an interesting one. You got a buy here. And market never really puked out. It kind of waffled a bit and then moved higher. And on balance, that's what I see here out of the algo. So no doubt about it, a lot of times when you trade these kind of algos, and we've talked about this, and we even mentioned in the education program, that if you do trade oscillators, if we're in a ranging market, you're going to be just back and forth, not doing much. This is really frustrating. Not much is going on. When is this thing going to start trending? And of course, Murphy's Law, it will start trending the day that you sort of stop paying attention. That's just the way algos work, and it drives you crazy. So you could A, just take the algo signal. I've asked Fjord if we can have a better time that this signal is disseminated, because it's an absolutely horrible time of day that he does it. So there is that we're working on. As well, too, we do have the Discord now where the signals come in there. So you should be able to get it on your phone. I would like to try and get an email notification of the signals sooner rather than later. Hopefully we can get Fjord on that ASAP. If you want to just listen to the signal, okay, it's come up on my Discord, beep, right? And then pull up the price chart, and probably an hourly price chart is probably best. And then you just simply say, okay, well, is there any setups that I've learned to add TRI or I've traded on my own over the years that I like? Now that the algo is saying hunt longs, I do like this W. That's like a killer trade level right there. Are you advanced enough as a trader to be able to set this up for yourself? I don't know. That's a good question unto itself. Or you could okay, as the signals come in, wow, look at that pop. Okay, well, I'm going, as long as the signal is pointing bullishly, I'm going to hunt bullish setups in that direction. And that would add you buying way up here, but taking profits up here and feeling like a boss. So those are probably two or three different ways that maybe will help you with using. And frankly speaking, absolutely, this should not be a hard sell. So I hate to say it, but I might even say that, if you are having questions and humming and hawing about this, maybe this isn't for you. For people that do understand how these signaling systems work, I think it's absolute gold. But for what I'm really worried about and what really bothers me is we're going to have a whole bunch of people that come onto the site and say, oh, just tell me when to buy and when to sell. That's the only thing I care about. And that is a potion for disaster. So maybe I'm talking you out of purchasing this. I might be. So, but hopefully I've given you, and I can't speak to how others use the tool. All I can do is speak to how I would interpret using the information. So hopefully that's given you at least an answer towards that. And what I would suggest is you come on the daily brief on Tuesday. That's when Sjord is on the daily brief after party, and ask him this question directly to Sjord. I think that's an excellent idea. And then Thursday, when Julian is on the daily brief, pose that question, and you'll get that question from him as well. And then also too, but this would require you subscribing. We do have the people who do subscribe to the actual pro dashboard. We have a room for them. So anybody that comes in here, you can see there they are chit-chatting away. And everybody's trying to help each other out how best to use this information. So all right, well, there's some food for thought for you. I hope that helps. Could it be that you can somehow link the signals to a trading account so the algo triggers a long short trade? If this is the case, can you describe how to set this up? No, I can't go into that today. That would be way, way too difficult. Sorry. And frankly speaking, even Julian said this the other day. We were seriously humming and hawing about just not even bothering and just closing up shop. And we can either, because now we've got the track record, as soon as we have 3 years of data, then we can go to Wall Street and raise $100 million for a hedge fund just to run this. But you got to have the track record and you got to have the data. But also too, TRI has its own capital, and we might just trade this all just for ourselves. So don't think that there's some sort of hard sell here. And if anything, I had a couple PMs from people recently who heard us talk like that and said, no, 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 you don't do that. So, there are other people who are asking if we could just set up like a copy trade function, where, like I remember sites like Simple FX, I think they had one. I know some of the MT platforms, they do that copy trade kind of thing, but that's not a conversation to be had here today. Maybe down the road. If B above is not possible, then how would you best set up notifications from the breadth crossed in order that perhaps it might have to drag me out of my sleep to put on a trade? Well, first and foremost, know that basically every single day the signals are always produced at exactly the same time. I did ask Sjord specifically to make sure that they come out at very specific time, and it's like 9:30 p.m. my time, which is like very, very early in the morning in Europe, and I suppose that's around I guess midnight or so Eastern time. I don't know where you are in the world. And honestly, there's not really much I can do about that, because for every one person that says this is a good time for me because of this silly globe, there's going to be 2 or 3 people that say this is a bad time of day for me for this signal. So, we buy, and Sjord just decided that he was going to do the signal at the time that he did it. I don't like when this signal comes in. It's a horrible time of day for me. And if anything, what we really should have is the system spit out the signal on the new daily print, because that's when it should happen, which would be about like maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon my time, which would be like 7 p.m. Eastern time, which would be sort of probably about 9 or 10 o'clock in the evening for Europe. And that's probably why Stewart doesn't want to do it at that time, because he doesn't want to ruin his evening. Anyway, I don't know whether I really spoke to those questions or not, but we can always circle around and answer those further in sort of the after party shows on the site. All right, number 2. Hello, Brian. Thank you for all your briefs, analysis, and your evaluations and your breadth. You can always tell when people don't really know what the hell the indicator is. They call it the breadth indicator. That's adorable. And it's totally awesome. Well, that's great. Just remember, it's just an algorithm, right? All it does is it spits out buys and sell signals. Half of the job, unfortunately, is you have to be able to actually trigger it. And like I said earlier, we're sort of humming and hawing about whether maybe we just do it all privately, because Sjord is basically has his engine now up and running, that all of the signals now are all coming in on their own, and the system itself is just trading away. So let's see whether I can even show you this. So there is the algo. And yeah, here are the signals, right? So you can see long, short, long, short. I guess he doesn't have the prices on here, but he is actually taking the trades. So it's super cool to see it in operation. And I think I've told you guys, well, I guess I don't know how to show you on this. This is sort of the back engine. Probably really even shouldn't be showing us on here. But anyway, I know that here we go. Maybe ETH, XRP, BTC. I'm not quite sure where the last signal is. I don't think this is showing it. Anyway, there is a page, and I actually take screenshots of it every time a new signal comes in, and I post the trade on. I have one chart that I dude up all of them because I wanted to keep an eye on them all. I guess this you can't see at the old trades here, so I'm not quite sure what to do. Anyway, you can see as Sjord's running a whole bunch of different algos here. Geez, he's got just about everything under the sun here, eh? It's interesting how he's still running signals on tracks of all places. Why on earth is he running that? Oh well. Maybe I'll talk to him in the meeting tonight about that. Anyway, so the point here is back to questions. All right, let's see what you got here. And it doesn't replace everything you provide daily with all the TRI, the team TRI. Okay. I had a question about BTC. Technically, if I'm not mistaken, we haven't yet reached the 38.2 retracement level of the move from the top, even though we're close to it. Is the scenario of a return to the RLZ of the move since January 19 nearly invalidated, at least for now? Well, what ends up happening is as price moves higher, where's the best place to show you this? Maybe over here. As the price moves higher, what you're going, I mean, the RLZ never goes away. So there is the reload zone. You can see it, right? That's what this zone is right here. So what ends up happening is, at this point right here, notice that dump. I don't know whether you can see that or not, but that was basically back to a mountain man level, that low right there. That is a reload zone off of this particular range. Then as we move up, there's the reload zone. Didn't come back to it. Then as we make a new high, you have to just drag your reload zone tool higher. So there is the reload zone. Nothing's changed. I mean, reload zones are reload zones are reload zones. So as we, they call this climbing the wall of worry. As we make a new high, all you're going to do is just keep dragging your reload zone higher. And notice even now, right, I think you can make the argument. I absolutely love whoops, what did I do there? I absolutely love if this is the high. I don't know if it is or not. Notice how this tail low, I don't know whether you can see this or not. Look how this tail low right here is 78.6. I mean, could we have a little dip? I don't know. I mean, market do any old damn thing it wants. Could we have a dip right down into, say, right there? And actually, this turns out to be a Wyckoff check, doink like that. Could that happen? Sure. Any given point in time that could happen. And actually, I was showing you just a moment ago, this loom here is a good example. When we were screaming up like this and you were like, oh, crap, I mean, should I chase? I would say, no, draw your reload zone and wait for the market to come back into reload zone. And you notice, look where the market turned, right off of that venture cap reload zone. I was showing you, there was another altcoin. Which one was it that I think it was this one that we were looking at. Look at this cute little cutie. This is basically, do you see that 78.6 dump right there? Right against these lows here. And there is the original market structure bottom. And I had said just tertiarily, I was looking in the library and I was like, oh, we just had a setup that looked like that. Right. That was which one was it? The shark. Where's the shark? Trading range. So yeah, there. This is a name from like the first cycle I played in crypto. We charted this. Same logic. There's the double bottom, huge run up, stab down into 78.6 into these tails. Boom, you get yourself a killer fill right there. So could you see that happen on Bitcoin even as we speak? I mean, hell, it might even happen in the next hour. You don't know. Like I said, this is a game of if you're a trader, right? This is all about being paid to worry. No idea how this is going to play out, but there is reload zones. There is a tail that likes to be eaten. There is the original market structure bottom. So a dip right back down into this area to me would be a buying window. Just that simple. Really, really simple. Can't chase that up there. If I wanted to invest in Bitcoins, and I think that's sort of what I say off of these charts, right? Let's see if we can expand this. If I wanted to work stink bids, I'd place them in the reload zone. And that is exactly what that box is right now. And it's interesting how you've often heard me say candle body lows for trade location, or yeah, candle body lows for trade location if you want to buy. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. And there is your reload zone. And also too, interesting how trend line off of this market structure, boom, boom. If we had some sort of puke out on the other side, then maybe the ETF news comes out, we pop a little bit higher, and then we roll over and head our way back down. Something like I could easily see that. Wouldn't surprise me at all. So I think to answer your question, I'm not going to predict the future because, frankly speaking, I'm horrible at it. I don't know what's going to happen. But if I wanted to buy, I'm not allowed to chase. And that's why I have the reload zone tools, is they keep me honest. So is the scenario of a return to the RLZ of the move since January 19.7 to 23K nearly invalidated? No, this is not invalidated whatsoever. I fully expect whenever this rally is done, we will do reload zone pullbacks. It's just what the market does. The question that I have, and this scares me a little, is that if this is sort of like a 2015 kind of repeat scenario, then what ends up happening, you can see down here, is the reload zone pullback is very violent and very fast. So notice, so you could have the same kind of conversation here as we're climbing higher. Well, is your reload zone concept being negated by this thing moving higher? Well, I'd say no, because just draw your reload zone. And notice the pullback slammed into Mountain Man, into the reload zone, and then took off right back up. And I have a feeling that's what probably we're looking at right now. So a scenario like that. But again, do we want to get into the business of predicting the future? I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. But is the reload zone concept valid right now? Absolutely. Nothing changes. I mean, hell, you could even say, well, what's a reload zone off of this range? And sure enough, there's Mountain Man level hit again. So the reload zone concept is universal. But the key here is you just, maybe you're like hard set, in this case, I want to buy 219 and you have to keep dragging this up and you go, oh shit, well, I have to buy 314. I can't buy 219, maybe something along those lines. Well, that's about the best I can answer that question. I hope that was of some value. Okay, also, when I look at Google Trends, I do see a new W. Oh, yeah, look at that. If that's new. Yeah, that looks pretty bullish. Just like the same week in October 22. Yeah, I don't like the fact that this is happening into the end of the year. This is a bit bothersome, to be honest with you. But it doesn't seem to be significant yet. Can this kind of information be considered in an analysis and make sense? Well, first and foremost, and let's see, what do you got here? This would have been nice that you had like an actual URL so I could replicate this. I don't know whether there's actually even a W. It almost looks like there's a little W down in here. So that little W, that probably actually would have been a pretty good timing signal. And this is what like they do. And I don't know what it is that you actually use to do your Google search. Was it just something like this, Google searches? And I never know how to do this correctly. I always get this wrong. Was that? Oh shit, look what time it is. Oh, I gotta get out of here. So I tell you what, I think we'll have to leave this for tomorrow. I'll circle around and I'll get the updated chart and we'll do this in the after party tomorrow. I think that is agreeable. As I talked about, you know me, I have to go to my real job now. So I think we'll leave it at that for today. It should be an interesting open for the futures markets tonight. I don't know what the hell the is going on over there in Israel. I think to a certain degree that's driving what you happen to see here in the short term. As we showed you here, we strapped on a demo trade for all of you guys to follow along. Not a bad idea for all of you. If you want to learn how to trade setups, this is a pretty, you can take a screenshot of this. You should be able to replicate this trade setup on something like TradingView and just follow along. Let's see whether you can paper trade this along with us. I have no idea what's going to happen. No guarantees from the management. Slow and steady wins the race. Live by the sword, die by the sword. We'll circle around and we will finish those questions in the after party tomorrow. Slow and steady wins the race. Don't take no wood nickels. Remember what your number one job is. All the best. The only thing left for Brian to say to you, all you good people, is wish me luck on the road with Liam today. Thank you very much, Adam. Awesome. Thank you, Donna. Appreciate it. And bye for now.